Welcome to the Eddie Lamb Show. We dedicate this podcast to interviewing musicians of every kind, as well as online content creators on social media. Whether if they're starting out or if they're already on the rise and still growing, this show is all about having a fun conversation with our guests, talking about their favorite things that relate to their passion for their projects. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let's have that conversation. When it comes to work and life balance, it's never easy running your own business, getting various jobs done while also staying busy, raising a family, and taking on other projects. Our next guest is a prime example of someone who takes us behind the scenes on her busy life online. Her name is Linn Hein, an entrepreneur for professional social media content, musician, wife, and mother. We'll be talking about her tips on how to stay on top of her tasks, her musical background, and even some helpful tips to get you through the day. Okay, everybody, we have another guest who is from out of town. She's not from Vancouver like most of our guests are. In fact, she is from the United States of America. She's from a really cool town called Nashville, Tennessee, which is Music City. And I had the pleasure of meeting her through TikTok during the pandemic 4+ years ago. So I came across her content where she was singing beautifully. She's a great singer, by the way. She plays guitar. But I learned more about her as the years went by. She's also an entrepreneur who helps make online content for various people around town. And not only that, she is also a content creator herself. And as you guys know, my podcast, I interview musicians and content creators of every kind. And she's hit both criteria. So that's amazing. And so, without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to a really cool musician, entrepreneur, content creator. Her name is Linn Hein. Welcome to the show, Jordan. How are you doing today?
Thanks so much. I'm so excited to be on this podcast. Thank you for having me on. It's been awesome watching you grow and following you. I think I followed you when you were less than 5,000 followers. And now you're over 60,000 followers on TikTok, which is so cool. So it's so amazing to see your growth and everything. But yeah, it's a pleasure getting to meet you via Zoom. I know the audience listening see Zoom. Yeah, it's so fun.
No, it's such a pleasure just getting to really finally get to speak to you just about your journey as well. And yeah, it's true. I really appreciate you supporting all the stuff I've done on TikTok. But I gotta tell you, it's such a pleasure even watching your growth here on both TikTok and Instagram, because I think it's so important that that folks like you make such relatable content where we have parents today, especially folks like you, for example. You hustle big time, and people don't know that when you're juggling a business and you're looking after kids, raising a family, or any other obligations that you may have, it takes a great deal of proper management to make sure things are flowing nicely. And I remember one of your videos that you mentioned, the 2 hard truths that we have to learn as adults in general, parents or no parents, is that it's important for us to make sure we are constantly learning things so we can improve ourselves, right? But then, of course, you also mentioned that we got to make time to take our breaks. We got to make time to make sure we're hanging out with our families and friends. We got to make sure that we make time to even go out and work out, like you mentioned, because that's such a crucial thing. Because I think often we, after a hard day of work, some of us may go, binge on junk food, or go out to the bars and with your friends and consuming unnecessary beverages. But then you remind us that the importance of exercise, the importance of working out, or any kind of exercise. It doesn't have to be, like you said, it doesn't have to be weights, doesn't have to be, gymnastics, but it can just even be going for a walk, or even just lifting, a few good pounds of dumbbells, or however however people can approach it on a case-by-case basis. So I guess the first thing I got to ask you is that what inspired you to come up with those tips and publish it to the people?
I think just the hard truths about it. Those are hard truths I learned because we didn't really I'm a business owner, and we laughed about this earlier. We were like, "Why work 9 to 5 when you can work 24/7
Yeah,
for
that's right.
yourself?"
Yeah, yeah.
So those are just hard truths I learned and just felt like sharing them online because I think a lot of parents online feel like they need to be polished. Like a lot of family vloggers are like,
Yeah.
"Oh, here's my perfect family and I did this, 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 and this today." And behind the scenes it's chaos. Well, it's all chaos. It's all chaos. Business ownership's chaos. Musicians, I mean, that's kind of chaos. Making
It
music,
can be, yeah.
chaos. um Having a family, it's chaos. So I think kind of showing that, I do struggle and it is hard. I mean, we're filming this Zoom, it's 9:40 my time, but this is when we both had time to do it, and you
Exactly.
gotta, stay up for the things you want to stay up for and stuff like that. But yeah, the second tip, the working out, I feel it on the weeks that I can't go to class because just the even though it is a time investment, and anything's in a time investment, learning's a time
That's
investment,
right. Yeah.
but the mental clarity I get from that helps me tenfold. And it's time for yourself too. I think people a lot of times, even business owners consider their business their kids, but you have to like fill your own cup first before you
Yeah.
can pour from.
Yeah.
And anything you can learn, even learning like little micro passions or following your passions, like you mentioned, your job, how you have learned skills that can apply to your music and to your audience. And like that's so important to find those connections too, because like those aren't things people would originally be like, oh, those don't go together, but they do. Like you said you took stuff from your music and applied them to your job, and you took stuff from your job that you can apply to your music and your teaching. And I love that so much.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think what was really amazing about that, even on your end too, right? It's like, is that with you as a content creator, you still circled that with yourself playing guitar. Like all these tips that you've all these things that you've displayed. Obviously, I can tell from the way you edit your videos and everything, you truly are a content creator professionally, and I think that it really shows, but at the same time, it's like you circled that with your music at the same time where there's videos of you playing guitar and singing. And I'm just like, man, this is just so cool because I think from what I looked at, as a longtime follower for 4+ years now, is that what you playing music have in common with what you also do on that business side of content creation is that you show that you're having a good time. And I think this is something that we as viewers needed, as audience members needed, was that we needed to see someone who's having a blast, and then we feel that blast, in such a great, healthy way. And I think you brought those things together. You're doing different things on your videos, but it has that common theme is, hey, look at us, we're having a good time doing this, and we want to share it to people.
I'm so glad to hear that because I just well, I've been posting on and off on my own content, but this
Yeah.
year I was finally like, okay, I hope dozens of businesses grow online. I
Yeah.
actually need to post consistently on my own account,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it can be a little bit random sometimes. So it's good to hear that it's coming across a little bit cohesively,
Yeah.
following like the underlying brand and storyline. So
Yeah.
that's that's awesome. But that's again filling my own cup with my own content because I do it for others. I mean, I create probably over 60 pieces of content a week for different businesses. So just had to add mine to the list,
Of
and
course.
I'm seeing the benefits. So that's been good.
Yeah. And speaking of content, you were mentioning from going back to that video that you talked about, about how we can use that opportunity to, let's say, listen to podcasts rather than always our same favorite songs, right? Do you have a favorite podcaster that you've been enjoying lately who you would want to recommend to people?
Yes, so she's a social media manager. My go-to podcast is Latasha James. She is just so knowledgeable in the social media management and content creation industry, and I love the way she formats her stuff
Yeah,
and the research that she does is
that's right.
so
Yeah.
helpful. And I adore her. I like she's who I look up to and who I would want my business to like be similar to,
That's
I
right.
guess.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
she's my go-to listen. But then I also listen to a lot of YouTube videos for just anything I'm wanting to learn because I've also noticed sometimes if I have a short amount of time, videos are edited kind of where the content's a little bit faster. Podcasts are sometimes a little bit longer and they can, you know, they're a conversation, which is great,
Yeah.
but
Exactly.
YouTube can be like a little bit more concise. Like they get to the 10 points. And
That's
so if
right.
I have short on time, I'll listen to like a YouTube video if I'm trying to learn something in like a shorter amount of time. But yeah, the education and constant learning is really great because you never know what you can apply in your life.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you brought that up too, because even for myself as a musician, as a musician and music fan, I can listen to my same favorite heavy metal songs as I'm driving, right? And that's one of my funny, quirky habits. I remember my wife would be like, "Oh, are we listening to that song again? Oh man," But she's just saying that just to tease me, you know what I mean? But in all seriousness, though, but even because for me as a music producer too, like I record my own stuff, right? I would try to make the effort to even go on either on YouTube or whatever platform I tune into. But I would want to learn more about, say, music recording tips, right? And and it still relates to what I love to do, right? So, which is still music, but. I think this week what I did was that there was a few different of these special recording plugins that I found through a friend of mine, right? And so he told me about these amazing cool like stuff that you can record your electric guitar into, and I looked at it, researched it on YouTube, and so I've been spending a bit of that time watching and listening to that on my spare time. And I'm just thinking, man, you know what? Maybe I should purchase this effect so that way it'll help a lot on my future recordings when I record stuff for my band. And like the more I learn about that kind of stuff, now I'm trying to expand my horizons way more than what I have from my current knowledge. And when you brought up this amazing point, I'm just like, you know what? I could enjoy a song, and there's always a time for that. There's always a time to enjoy Bohemian Rhapsody with your friends. I'm just kidding, but
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah. You still, I'm sure everyone still does, right? But there's a time to learn, there's a time to have fun. But the learning process is going to make you grow as a person, and I'm really glad you used that video to inspire not just myself, but other people who may benefit from it.
Hey, well, I'm so glad that inspired you because it was like it clicked in my head. So it feels so good to hear that. Thank you so
Of
much.
course.
Uh, but yeah, I had a 4 hour drive today actually to and from a client, and I definitely took a good 30 minutes of that to scream Chapel Roan with the windows down. But the
Was it Pink
other
Pony?
one,
Was it Pink Pony Club or Hot to
that
Go?
was one of them, all of them, all
All
on
of
my
the whole catalog, right? Yeah.
But yeah, that was great. But then yeah, I turned back to my educational videos since I am just so limited on time with a toddler. I just gotta make use of that time sitting in the car. I used to hate driving places. I travel a lot for work. A
Of
lot of my
course.
clients are 30 minutes up to 2 hours away because I like
Yeah,
to
yeah,
take
yeah.
the content myself. I'm kind of a perfection not I don't want to say perfectionist, but I know what makes good content, so I like to be the one to physically take it.
Of course. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of driving from one part of town to another, besides, I mean, you mentioned Chapel Roan just now, who, by the way, she won a Grammy Award this year as of early 2025. Um, are there any other tunes that you would recommend to people to crank up if they're driving, say, 2 hours?
Oh, I'm a basic girly. I love all the TikTok songs. Sabrina Carpenter. I love Ariana Grande. My husband makes fun of me. He's like, those are just the most basic songs. I'm like, well, everybody loves them for a reason. They're good. um, but if I want to throw back, my favorite album all time is Songs About Jane by Maroon 5, and then I love the Weepies too.
Yeah.
I think they broke up which is so sad. I could cry over that. But they're my favorite too. They're like a folk indie band, and I got the privilege of seeing them. I
Oh,
think
that's
it was in like
amazing.
2019 something, but
Yeah.
yeah, I've
So
wanting some more chill or
right.
really sing.
So you could go from Adam Levine singing for Maroon 5, doing some bangers like moves like Jagger, but then you could maybe say transfer over to the Lumineers, for example, and listen to Hey Ho or anything else along that realm, right?
Oh yes, definitely. And then if my husband's in the car, of course, we talked about it's I let him listen to his music in the car. So he listens to all that Midwestern emo, screamo items. But you said you like that stuff too.
I do, yeah, yeah. So he and I will have some good conversations together down the road one day.
Definitely. Well, if you come to Nashville, you can go to a mosh pit concert with him. He really enjoys those.
Well, I'll give you a better deal for him. I would go. We can meet up in Nashville, go to a local open mic, and I'll do some of my favorite songs acoustically on guitar and sing it to him.
Perfect. Love it. I will be there. Let's do
Yeah,
it. Come on
exactly. Yeah, and we'll definitely jam together too. I can go on guitar. You can sing your favorite Chapel Roan song because I already know how to play Hot to Go and Pink Pony Club.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Perfect.
yeah, that's awesome. It's so fascinating too because when you think about the variety that you have in your playlist, right? Like because I want to get your opinion on this whole thing because when it comes to putting together playlists, right, it says a lot about a person on their taste and everything like that too. But do you think people's tastes have really changed over the years? Because one of the things I always hear about is that back in the day, people would like say 90% of your peers, for example, they all or people in your high school, they all care about this one genre or just one artist that everyone follows, right? And if that person comes to town, the whole town's going to be there. But then nowadays, because of things like Spotify or any other online platforms, right? Now everyone has a bit more. There's a bit more individualism. There's going to be people who love jazz, and now just people who love like heavy metal, or just people who love rap music, and just people who love folk. Do you think it has gone to that point now in terms of people's tastes?
Yeah, I definitely think it has. I think TikTok has been huge in that just because, I mean, the songs you hear on TikTok, you'll hear them on the radio. Like the virality of the across genres of the songs on TikTok, I think are introducing people to new genres that they wouldn't have maybe listened to begin with. And then
Yeah,
the little snippets of the choruses just get stuck in your head and you can't help but listen. And it's really cool to see, everybody love truly across genres instead of sticking to just one. But on the flip side of that, as an artist, I still think it's important to create what you love, but still like when you're posting online for your brand, do you have a target market in mind? I
that's
think that's
right.
still important.
Yeah,
Because there are groups of people that tend to listen to Chapel Roan or Chris Stapleton. They're even though they might cross over and bleed, it is important for an audience to not try to boil the ocean for creating music for everybody and still
that's
kind of
right.
have their
Yeah,
ideal avatar in mind
that's
when
right.
they're online. So
Yeah.
I think it's a two-sided thing depending on which avenue you're looking at it from.
It's funny how you say that too, but and then there's folks like us who have to be multi-genre because for myself, playing in cover bands, I have to go multi-genre. I have to like talk about Chris Stapleton or show people how to play a Chapel Roan song right on guitar. And it's funny too because it's like you could have like those niche markets in terms of genre. But
Yeah.
then for myself, like, for me going multi-genre, it's like I have to like, figure out, okay, now how do both, say Chris Stapleton and Chapel Roan come into play? Well, here's my theme. I'm going to show you how to play their songs on guitar, and it's easy to learn.
Yeah.
And and to be multi-genre that way is just that's the thing because funny thing is that I remember like having to listen to country for this little period of my life in 2021 because people were asking me to learn to teach them country music. I'm like,
Yes.
all right, I'm gonna bite the bullet here and spend some time listening to my country radio station here in Vancouver. So I had to, but I'm not gonna lie. Then when I discovered artists like John Party, Chris Stapleton, Eric Church, of course, we all grew up. A lot of us grew up listening to Garth Brooks, so I kind of did for a little while too in my younger years, um, but of course, besides, for me being Canadian, of course, Shania Twain, right? We all, admire her a lot too as a Canadian. But then when I discovered other ones, let's say, Toby Keith, for example, right? Another one, and who else is there? Yeah, the list is just pretty endless, But like for me, like I remember in my younger years, I would bash other genres because I thought, oh, this is stupid, right? But for me, like I had to learn to have an open mind and discover, well, there's going to be some value to this, to check out other genres. And now I got to use that. Now that I've done that, now I can use that to show other people, this is how you make country music. This is how you can do that. And, and as you were saying, sometimes like that, when it comes to discovering the niche markets, it is important to discover that. But it's so funny because I always try to open now, for me, a bit older, I've been trying to discover other genres and see like, why is it good? Why do people enjoy it? Like, I don't have to be part of that niche market, but it is nice and helpful to really understand the other markets. And as you were saying, right, who is your target market? But as an outsider, I can see, I would look at the target market and be like, okay, I kind of get why now that I analyze it way more. And I think you hit the nail on the head on that. It's just so important that, people, there's going to be something for everybody. And I think that is a good thing.
Oh yeah, 100%. But yeah, there's a little bit of fluidity with, yeah, you do have to have your target market, but then also be able to cover these other genres and sing the other genres and be able to perform, those other genres. So
Yeah.
it's definitely kind of like everything is very specific to the artist. Everyone asks me, oh, like, oh, what's like the one thing you can do, or what's the one thing you have in everybody's strategy? And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's truly different because everybody has a different personality.
Yeah.
Everybody has a target market. Everybody's business. I work across a lot of different industries,
That's
and
right.
so I'm
Yeah.
like, just have a one size fits all because they're all different, and that's for artists too. Like the
That's
strategy
right.
truly is specific. So
That's
I know
true.
that's not the most helpful
No, I
answer,
think it
but
made a lot of sense to me personally. So,
I
yeah,
think.
yeah. You were mentioning Chaparral and Chris Stapleton. We just talked about earlier a few seconds ago. Would you ever see those two perform together? Would you pay to see a Chaparral and Chris Stapleton collab?
That would be really cool. Honestly, I could see it because I think I haven't listened to her new song just yet, but I think she just did a country song and she actually put a billboard in Nashville for her country song. So I don't think it would be too much of a stretch to see that. And I feel like a lot of the pop girlies right now are dipping their toe into country because Sabrina Carpenter just did that collaboration with Dolly Parton. So
Yeah,
I'm like, what's going on here?
yeah, and
I like it. I mean, I'm in Nashville. I can appreciate country
yeah,
music, even if
yeah,
it's not my go-to.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, it's
Beyonce's another
interesting.
example as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, that's awesome. So now that we've touched base on the musical realm, maybe let's talk about your love for music because that's how I initially discovered you on TikTok. Because one of the things I always wanted to do on TikTok when I first started during the pandemic was to discover other musicians that are on there, and of course you're one of the many I that came across my FYP page, and I'm glad. Yeah, and so I guess the first question I got to ask you is, what inspired you to play the guitar?
I Oh man, let's see. Let me think about this. And also, side note, it's so cool that during the pandemic, all these like you and I connected. Like TikTok brought so many people together, and
It
it's
has,
just so
yes.
cool to see like those friendships come from a social media platform. And but that was a side note. I My parents weren't very musical. My family wasn't the most musical, but I
I
always
see.
like loved to sing. I was a choir girl. I liked
Nice.
all this. Then my parents tried to put me in guitar lessons because I wanted to learn when I was in second grade,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that didn't work out. I am currently still left-handed,
Oh,
and they
okay.
were they were trying to like flip. They were trying to do something weird with the string. They were trying to like restring it backwards and have me play it like, and it really
Oh,
threw them off. And so I think I took maybe a couple lessons, but it really didn't stick. But I still had the
yeah.
guitar, and so I think my parents eventually got me a ukulele. I still love to sing elementary school, middle school, high school, and then I think it was 15, and I kind of was like taught myself the ukulele, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, guitar's really not a stretch.
Yeah.
So I taught myself guitar the right, like as if I was playing it right-handed, but
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I play it the, I guess, correct or normal way. I don't flip it around or
Or
anything,
the
but
usual way, or the traditional way, I guess is that's the right word.
yes, and then, I started doing some open mic nights, and I had taken voice lessons for a while, but,
Oh,
I
okay.
was born in Nashville, but my family's from Paducah, Kentucky, so when I
Oh,
was 2,
okay.
we moved back to Kentucky, and so there wasn't really commercial, vocal teachers. There was
Mm.
just like, your classical whoever played the organ at church was gonna be your music teacher.
Yeah, that's the thing about small towns is that it's like sometimes like you're wearing many hats too. It's like oh, or oh, there's Bob the plumber. Oh, he's also a firefighter on Saturdays.
Yeah, and so he taught me classical music. I think I took classical voice lessons from him for many years, and I
Yeah,
tried commercial with him one time. I remember doing a lesson.
right.
I was like, "Can I sing you The Way by Ariana Grande?" And I did the whistle notes for him, and he told me I sounded like a squirrel. He was like, "Why would you even wanna do that?" He was older, he was, like, 70 something.
Okay, yeah, that
Uh,
makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so he was like, "Those are squirrel noises," so I didn't take offense to it or
Of course,
anything,
yeah.
but,
Yeah.
we moved back to Nashville, my senior year of high school, and then I picked up, commercial voice lessons
Yeah,
then,
right
and
on.
I was like, "This is what I like."
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's almost like that. I think we were just talking about this before we recorded this episode. I taught one of those, like those like the hip non-classical like top 40 music school where they learn guitar, drums, vocals, and piano and all that stuff. Like, and I think that's kind of cool that they have those kind of centers because then kids can learn how to sing their favorite songs by Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande, Sabrina Carpenter, and so on and so forth, right? And when you discovered that, that was like, oh my goodness, this is like the school of rock, school of pop for me. So
Yeah, and I think that's really cool too, because I feel like, well, at least in the smaller town, like that, like you said, that's kind of the only thing that was going on, or maybe my parents maybe didn't know of commercial voice artists, but I love that there are centers. Like there's one not far from my house I was telling you about earlier. I'm 100% putting my son in that, and I think it helps
yeah,
too because as a child, like, the commercial stuff was what I loved.
yeah,
Like, it's really cool that I could sing an Italian aria, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
liked what I was listening to on the radio and wanted to jam out on my guitar to that, so
yeah,
I think that brings fun to music for kids when they are able to learn,
yeah.
like, their favorite songs.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and you were mentioning Ariana Grande. One of the things I give props to her is the fact that of course, not a lot of people would know about it, unless you really followed her. Like I first discovered her because of her old sitcom Victorious, right? And
Mhm.
who know? I don't know how many people know about this, but yeah, Ariana Grande did comedy before she took music very seriously, right? And the thing I really loved about her was that one segment she did on Jimmy Fallon where she does impressions of female
Yeah.
artists, you know,
So
and
talented at that.
yeah, and she was so spot on, like not just her Mariah impressions, but her Christina impressions,
Yeah.
like
Oh, and Celine Dion impressions?
oh yeah, yes, Yes.
On point.
Yeah. Oh, and you can tell like she must have grown up listening to Celine Dion. You know what I mean? I'm just like if it's almost like she probably like lived with her, you know. But for anyone to do impressions like that, and it's just it's that's like next level talent right there. Because like to do impressions of somebody of a big star, for example, you really have to like have a good ear for tone, and and I've seen people who've done impressions of celebrities, and some of them it can be frighteningly be 100% accurate. I'm like, you sound just like
Yeah.
that. You sound just like that guy.
Mhm. Yeah, it can be a little eerie. It's like, oh, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, yeah. But I guess I should ask you. So what are one of the many things you love so much about Ariana Grande as a singer, or I guess even as a person?
Yeah, I don't know. I just loved her music growing up. I was a soprano. I could hit those high notes. I can't do them as much anymore because I don't take lessons anymore, and I haven't really exercised my range probably as much as I should.
Yeah,
Um,
it's all good.
but they were they were really fun to me because I could emulate her voice, I feel like, pretty well, and I don't know. It was just she was the artist that I liked. So
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. That's awesome. And what's so cool was that like you mentioned, you also got into playing folk music. You love listening to that as well. I mean, I think of course I list the Lumineers as one of the many examples, but we all know there's more different artists besides the Lumineers or Mumford and Sons. But is there any other folk artists that you would recommend to people that they should be paying attention to?
Oh, they're broken up now, but my favorite folk indie band was the Weepies.
Oh
I
yeah.
loved them so
How
much.
long ago did they break up again?
2022.
Oh man, that was a kick in the gut for everybody.
I'm heartbroken. I'm actually so heartbroken. But no, they're my favorite folk band. I still listen to their albums. One of their songs was played at my wedding while we like walked back down the
No
aisle.
kidding. Wow.
So their music I really just love. So that was
Yeah.
that was so bad.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm so glad you actually mentioned the Wheat Peas because that must have been something that people wanted to remember because it's like, well, the band's gone, but man, the nostalgia for that for their tunes, it's like it takes you back, right?
Yeah, but I did get to see them. I did get to see them. I think it was 2019. I saw them at City Winery in Nashville, and it was probably one of the best concerts I've been to because that this City Winery is like it's a sit down, so there's tables. You can eat
That's
dinner
right.
while you
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah.
It's very it's just low key and chill and perfect for acoustic sets like
Hmm.
that. And so
Yeah.
that was just so I was like I was drinking my chamomile tea and I was listening to the Weepies and I was just in the best spot ever at that concert.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to assume you must have met them before too.
I haven't met
Oh,
them in person, but that would have been really awesome.
yeah, yeah. Oh man. Well, I mean, hopefully, if one of the ex members does a meet and greet out of nowhere one day,
Maybe we'll go. Like their
yeah,
music means so much to me. And they have a kids album, so now
that's right.
like
Yeah,
a couple. And so now, my son and I, we listen to the Weepies. So
yeah,
it's an honor to love.
yeah. Well, I mean, you were mentioning that you and your husband have such different musical tastes, right? Your husband was into like emo rock music, right? But then like you love pop and folk music. I think if I was to recommend something that both of you could enjoy together, that combines both those elements, I would recommend Never Shout Never.
Okay, I'm writing it down right now. Never Shout Never. We share a Spotify account. He listens to all the like Suicide Boys, Lil Peep, XXX, uh, yeah, Ghost Main. Oh, he be loving some Ghost Main.
Oh, of course,
Uh,
yes, yeah.
but yeah, those are all the artists,
Oh, that's
or the
hilarious.
he listens to.
What was the first song you've ever learned on ukulele?
I think it was Hey Soul Sister, and I vividly remember it because I was 15
Ah,
and living in Paducah at the time, and they were doing voice auditions at
right.
like the local casino across the river. And that's when I was gonna do a cappella for it. I was determined. At 15,
Yeah.
they were only picking like two people out of 200 to send to The Voice. Like I don't even know if it's an official thing. And I
Yeah.
was at 15, I was like, this is gonna be my famous break, guys. This is
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
be it. And so I tried to like learn. That's when I picked it up, and I was like, oh, okay, I know this song. This I could play this on the ukulele. And then I decided that that would be just too much because it was like coming up too soon. But that's kind of when I picked it up and realized, oh, like I can do this. This isn't like as hard as I made it out to be in my head. Um, and so I ended up not doing that song. I ended up singing Sunday Morning a cappella. Did not make The Voice at 15 because like
Oh man.
200 people. I was very hyped
And,
about
and we're and we're
that.
talking Maroon 5 Sunday Morning, right?
Oh yeah, Moon 5 Sunday Morning. That love that song. I start every show with that song.
Nice. Because I know that the other songs that a lot of people would want to learn on ukulele when that instrument got so popular in the mid 2010s, right? Like it became such a big thing.
Yeah.
I think the one that a lot of people that I've known wanted to play was Riptide.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a very popular ukulele song. I've done my fair share of Riptide covers at little coffee shop open mics when I was in high school. It's a phase everyone went through, I think.
I think so, yeah. And
So
everyone was just singing along to it loudly and proudly. So yeah.
it's a great song though. It's still a fun song to sing. I know some people are tired of it, but I can still jam to Riptide.
Well, there is a version by Taylor Swift. Actually, she did a live version of it. She was singing and playing on piano, I believe, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
really? I
Yeah,
haven't seen.
yeah. So
I'll
definitely
have to
check
look at
that one out. Yeah,
that sounds good. I
yeah.
always have my little notes up here because if I don't write it
Yeah.
down, I will not remember.
Well, this is a good
Uh,
FYI. This is a good FYI, folks. Jordan takes notes here, just in general, because this is how folks you stay on top of things.
I do. I'm always taking notes on everything. My notes app on my phone is just, I mean, I'm looking at it right now. There's 2,200 notes, but it's fine. It's how I stay organized. It's good.
And this is the important thing, I think, with all of us when we want to take our content creation seriously, right? Like I think I told you, in the beginning, before we record this episode, I myself am a mega planner. I know that you're such a planner yourself too. And we always wanted to break that stereotype for musicians like us to not be that one that always sleeps in or by accident, or we're like not be on time for things, because we are notoriously known for that kind of quirk here and there, right, and other quirks that people may know about musicians. But I'm just glad to chat with you about this that we as artists, we also want to take things seriously by making sure we provide those right kind of ethics, right? Making sure we take notes down when it's really important to get some info that we have to remember, and we have our calendar open to make sure we are making time for working on certain important online content for clients, or even for myself. Band rehearsals, making time to hang out with my wife and and the rest of my family, or but also making time to make sure, like you said, make time to do some exercise because that's still just as important, and even with you too, spending time with your family as well. What do you think are some of the important key factors when it comes to that whole work-life balance? Anything that comes to mind randomly?
Yeah, I think making a list. I grew up. My mom is a project manager. I always say I was raised by
Makes
a
sense,
project
yeah.
manager. I am type A. I can be type A. I feel like I'm a type B mom, but a type A business owner.
Right, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I think when it's so overwhelmed that you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Make a list.
Yeah,
Everything, brain
yeah.
dump it. If you don't even know how to make the list, get ChatGPT on your phone. They have text to audio. tell them what is all on your mind, and then they will make your to-do list for you. Okay,
Right.
just make your list and then prioritize it. A, B, or C. A, most important. B, less
Yeah.
important. C, doesn't have to be done today. D, delegate. Go through what has to be done today. Pick your priorities realistically. What has to be
Yeah.
done today? What can be put off? What you can delegate, and then kind of build your schedule around that. And I think it's really important to catch yourself
Yeah.
too, because I can be, I mean, I work in social media. I get sucked into the TikTok rabbit hole all the time, but I
Yeah.
have to be diligent. My son is only napping 2.5 hours and I don't have the nanny that day. I cannot get sucked into that hole for 2 hours, because then I have 2 hours of work I have to catch up on after he goes to sleep.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
I think just being aware of where your time is going, because even though everybody does have 24 hours in a day, but it is not the same. Like people
Yeah.
who have toddlers or who are business owners or who are musicians who are working these weekend gigs and have to like do all these practice, like not all, it's unfair when people are like, oh, everybody has the same 24 hours in a day, because everyone's situation is different. So I think it's important to find the little pockets of time that you do have, like learning in the car,
Yeah.
delegating what you can. Like I delegate childcare to a nanny for
Hmm.
about 20 hours a week
That's
so I can
right.
get stuff done. And delegation could be, I think people get caught up on delegation too. They're like, what does that look like? Well,
Yeah.
delegating could be um paying somebody to clean your house. Delegating can be hiring an admin or an assistant to take care of emails for you. Delegating can
That's
be
right.
the nanny. Like delegating doesn't have to just be in the business sense. It could
Yeah.
be home and life things
That's right.
too,
Yeah.
um, for you to be more efficient. So I think figuring that stuff out and then building your schedule around your priorities just really helps be organized. And I mess up. Like I got my family and I caught some ick from what Hunter brought at home from the hospital. So we were out for the count for a week. So
That's right.
I
Yeah.
my schedule got messed and it threw me off. But that's
Right.
okay. We're back on now. You just do the best you can.
Exactly, and you hit the nail on the head on the importance of delegation too. You know, and it's just to let you folks know in context. You know, it's not like just telling people what to do, right? But it's okay to ask for help when we do
Yeah.
need it. You know, even I had to learn this too. You know, one of the downfalls that we as hardworking folks can fall into is that we do too much. You know, we do way too much, and so um,
What?
yeah. And yeah, and it can be hard to let go of some of those things that we do constantly, because a lot of it is fear based, because at least for me, it's if I let this go, or am I going to get backlash for this? Just an example, you know what I mean? Is it hard to let things go? Is it because, I'm being too prideful about it? And, I would say 9 out of 10 times for most human beings, it's hard to let go of things because of pride, and because you take good pride of doing a certain task, but then sometimes it is hard, you have to let things go, and it'd be okay to ask for help, or at least get some assistance, at least, and then you can train them and be like, okay, so this is how I usually do this and that, do it this way, do it that way, but I'll leave it up to you how you want to do this then that, right? But of course, easier said than done on in that realm. I've learned from a different podcast too, where this guy says, and he applied to leadership, but it can apply to any worker, honestly, in general. But doing too much doesn't mean you're going to do well. Less is more in terms of results,
Yeah.
And I think when you mentioned that when you brought up your point, that's where it hit home for me too. Is that is doing a lot going to achieve any results? Not all the time. No, it doesn't. And so that's why I'm so glad you brought up that.
Yeah, it's important. And I think a lot of business owners and musicians too, because I mean, musicians are technically business owners. Their business is just
We are, yeah.
their
Yeah.
art. I mean, same thing, different title. But I think a lot of them can get caught up in you have to do everything yourself. And no, focus on your art if that's what you do best, and then hire out the rest. If you need a booking manager, get a booking manager. If you can't find a booking manager, hire a really organized friend or assistant to send those emails
Yeah.
to keep you on track. I mean, social media, a lot of business owners try to do themselves. They delegate it out to me. and it helps them because it
There you
their
go.
time. Like it delegating helps everywhere, and it's really a way of buying back your time too. Like your time is
Yeah.
valuable, and say you're editing a YouTube video. You're not great at editing a YouTube video. It takes
Yeah.
3 hours to edit a YouTube. I'm saying that as an example, not like you're bad at editing videos. I haven't seen a YouTube
Yeah. Yeah.
video,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Exactly.
wouldn't it make more sense to pay a like somebody $15 an hour to edit that YouTube video where you can then turn and pick up a gig for 3 times that amount with that time? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So putting it in that mindset
Exactly.
too of like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna focus on what I do best, and I'm gonna let somebody else focus on what they do best, and then the end product is
Yeah.
gonna be even better than what I
Yeah.
imagined.
Exactly. Yeah, and I remember we had to do that for one of the cover bands I play in. Right, we had a show last year, and we actually hired a really good videographer who made a really incredible promo video for us, and we put it on our YouTube channel. And that's the thing too, because we all of us in the band, we used to be able to just like put like a GoPro on one side of the room, and I would put my phone or my old phone camera rather on like a different side of the stage, right, and then my drummer would have one on his angle, and we just did that and piece everything together. But editing videos eat up so much time on that part, for the band, right? Because I'm already busy editing TikTok videos and YouTube videos on my own personal channel too. But so then when we finally got a chance to have a good budget to actually hire a videographer who was like a friend of ours, he did an incredible job, and that saved us so much time and saved us so much stress, and good email conversations. He just says, okay, here's the first draft, what do you think? And then we'll give our input, and I'll be like, oh yeah, looks good. I would say just have bigger fonts on this scene, and other than that, it's pretty solid, right? And so it's way less work for us to have to deal with the editing side of things too. And and I think you hit the nail on the head right there, that it is okay to seek other experts out there who could save you so much more time.
Yeah, you have to look at it like a win for yourself and not like you're giving up something, because that is hard. But as once that kind of barrier is left over, you're like, oh, what else can I delegate? Like, what else
Yeah,
can I
exactly.
do?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So what is it? What's the one thing you really enjoy about making all of these different videos on your channel on both Instagram and TikTok?
Editing is so fun to me. I love
Yeah.
thinking of a piece of content in my head, executing it, and oh my gosh, when I'm
Yeah.
editing it in my editing software and it's coming together, I like watch it like 50 times.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes. And I don't know, it's just it brings me so much joy to put that together. It's so fun to me. And that's why I do it for other businesses too. I love being a part of, like, I'm a team member of all these like different businesses and different niches, and it's so,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I love capturing the content, like the raw footage and content there, and then I love bringing it home and putting the pieces
That's right.
like a puzzle and then posting it online. It's just my favorite thing. And the people I work with, my clients are so phenomenal. There's not a single one right now that I'm
Nice.
uh, like they're all so fun and they're enjoyable to work with, which makes it that much better.
Of
Um,
course. Yeah.
it's fun to like know them and consider them friends and be like, okay, we're gonna film you, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and they
Yeah.
trust me with it, and it's so great. I love it so much.
Yeah. And I think the key thing that you've demonstrated right there, just from your testimony on that, is the relationship. That is the key thing when it comes to working with all these different clients who I'm so glad that they're so awesome to work with, and I'm sure they speak very highly of you. And I think it's because of that relationship that you guys had, that you've built over those years, where it's like you are the go-to person, you are the trusted source, and I think that's amazing to hear about that.
Yeah, it's really cool, and I love my local clients too, because I mean, obviously you can build connections online. Here we are talking via Zoom, but
Exactly.
I love going in person too, because creating content, I feel like, especially remote, unless the client is like very confident and very determined, it's hard to get them to be comfortable in front of the camera
Yeah.
on their own. So when
Right.
I'm there, I feel like it kind of breaks the tension a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm being cringy. You can be cringy too. Let's be cringy together. And it's fun because they kind of open up vulnerable and then we're kind of vulnerable and then we're making this content and it's fun. And I think business owners and musicians kind of they just have a mutual understanding like it's hard.
It
Like
is. Yeah.
we're all working hard, so I think that helps break the ice a little bit too, that they don't have to be this business to consumer facade in front of me. It could
Yeah.
be like, "Oh, we're both business owners, we understand it, let's be real, let's get this on camera and put it out there." So that's helpful.
And speaking of breaking the ice, on your account on Instagram, we got the chance to get to know you, and of course the rest of the family too, because one of the coolest things you also display, not just talk about a day in the life of a content creator and a musician, but you also had some really cool content on your favorite foods, and with like myself as a person who loves to cook as well. It's really cool that you even show people, this here's some of my favorite recipes that I make, or here's how I organize my fridge when it comes to food related content as well. And again, it says so much about you and the whole family. The kind of things you like to do to make your home happy. And I remember because of you, one of your videos from on TikTok back in 2021, my wife and we bought these little plastic bins to organize our fridge too. So now that's our thing. Yeah.
So fun. Being organized is great.
It is. It
So
is. Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that because it's those are things that I enjoy, and so I put them online, and I feel like when somebody enjoys something like their art or their business, and they truly enjoy it, then it's
Yeah.
gonna shine.
And I think that's really cool that you can inspire people to do that, and folks, if you haven't checked that out, make sure you see all the other cool life hacks that Jordan has to throw on her channel because it's really helpful stuff, honestly. Like it's really cool.
Thank you. Oh, that's so awesome. That means a lot to me. Like you don't even know that means so much to me.
Yeah.
I can hear that, but yeah, it's just important to love what you do and be authentic. And I think that comes through in your content too. It's so fun. You're like, okay, we're gonna do this tutorial, and here's how you're gonna do it. And it's only gonna take a minute. Like
Yeah.
it shows that you're a great teacher. You know what you're doing, but also your excitement's coming through too. It's
Oh,
like
thank you.
you're not coming off as like this like judgmental person who's like, yeah, I'm already a pro at the guitar. You can guess try this, I guess. You're coming off as, no, I know this and I'm sharing this with you because I'm
Oh,
excited
thanks.
about it and you can
Yeah.
be excited about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Thanks. Yeah, I always try not to be like not like those strict teachers. Not like that movie. Was that what Whiplash? Like, have you ever seen that movie? I'm like, oh man, that's like freaky, man.
I'll write it down though in my
Oh yeah,
notes.
you need to watch that movie. Yeah, Whiplash. It, well, especially for people who, even if you don't play drums like that, because it is mainly about a jazz student who's a drummer. But even if you're not a drummer, you will enjoy that movie. For what it is. Yeah, it can be a little freaky. If you come across strict music teachers from the past, but once you actually watch that actual movie, you'll be like, wow, this is actually fascinating because it actually got I don't know if it won an Oscar, but it definitely had nominations for Oscars for sure.
Okay, cool. I'll have to check that out. I'm so bad about watching Hunter and I are huge horror fans. And
Ah,
so
okay.
we're like, that's the genre that we pay attention to. So when other
Yeah,
people are like, "Oh, you should watch this movie," I'm like, "Oh, I haven't even heard of it," but I wouldn't have even
yeah.
thought to look at it. But I'm trying to expand my horizon
Right
for
on.
movies.
Well, do you have any favorite horror characters? Let's say, Freddy Krueger, Chucky, Michael Myers, Jason, or any of those folks, or
Um, Not necessarily characters, but the scariest horror movie I think of recent Hereditary. That freaked me out. That was,
okay,
but
yeah,
I like being freaked out. Like that was a win for me because I was shook a little bit after
right.
watching. Made me feel something
Oh my
because
goodness.
a lot of horror movies today I feel like are just not that crazy. I don't know, Hereditary hit the head on the nail for
Yeah,
me.
I understand that too because there are some horror movies that you see. It's like, oh, it's so generic, like it's a generic slasher film, right? And and we all know how it's gonna end. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, I get it.
Guys,
Yeah,
guys.
I know, right? And then that's the thing. And then they would try to milk some of the old series, and I'm just like, I don't know. They've been doing this for like the last 50 years. And, yeah.
Yeah. But when a good one comes out, Hunter and I are so excited. We're like, okay, we're
Yeah,
putting the baby to bed, and then we're watching this, and it's gonna be great. And then we'll also spend like 10 or 15 minutes after on the synopsis. We'll listen to a YouTube video about like
that's
the
right. Yeah,
synopsis.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
The
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I think the one I still need to watch, like I am curious about the Chucky TV series.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen that yet, but it'll be interesting. My attention span for a TV series is so it's so bad what TikTok has done to my attention span, but
Oh
I'll
man,
have to
yeah, yeah, for sure, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, because I when it comes to like those kind of movies too, I always felt like I don't know, like I always find out with horror movies, like it really like for me like it really depends because I grew up watching a lot of horror movies myself too, right? So it was like yeah, Jason, from Friday the 13th, Michael Myers from Halloween, Chucky is a big one for me too. And like, I don't know what I liked about it, but I think it's just like, I guess it's the Hollywood magic, like, how, like say the makeup on Freddy Krueger's face, right? Or, the animatronics of Chucky. It's like, man, how did they do that? Like that's just so, out there, right? And even for like non-horror stuff, let's say, it's like a horror comedy. So let's say Gremlins, for example, right? Even then I grew up watching Gremlins and that was like fascinating for me because I'm just like, how did they do that? This is just so, outside the box, right? But, yeah, I think that's the thing for me. Like, the Hollywood magic has just captured my attention too.
Yeah, it's definitely an art to appreciate. I mean, as a musician, you can appreciate art like in its many forms, and movies
That's right.
are one
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I'll catch it'll be like the goriest movie, and I'll be like, wow, that the way the lighting was in that scene was just so beautiful. Like
I know,
we
right?
were
Yeah. Yeah.
we were
Yeah.
watching Nosferatu, the new one last night, and I was like, wow,
Oh,
that
Nosferatu.
yeah, we just watched the new one. It was okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it yet. No, that's the thing because I saw the commercials for it and everyone was talking about it and I'm like, I haven't seen it yet. So I told everyone, don't spoil it for me. I might watch it. So
It was beautifully filmed. There were some scenes in that I was like, this is gorgeous. So I would definitely recommend it for the
yeah.
cinematography aspect.
My wife is a huge fan of I went I would say crime documentaries. That's kind of her thing, because we would watch some of those shows that are based on forensic science, for example, right? Or how cases get solved through forensic science, or even let's say she watches a biopic. Let's say they portray some of those notorious killers, right? Her reason of being fascinated by certain biopics like that, she's fascinated by the psychology behind the suspects. Even for me, I'm a little drawn to it too. So I'm just like thinking, well, yeah, what goes on in these people's heads, right? But the one that really drew my attention was Firefest. You remember that one?
Nope, but I'll write it down.
Okay, so this one's spelled Fyre. Firefest.
Okay. Oh wait. I think maybe yes. I
Okay,
have.
this is the one about the guy who tried to put on a festival at the Bahamas and it flopped so badly.
We learned about that in college in
Oh,
marketing.
good. Because I was saying to everybody that you gotta watch that if you want to learn more about event planning. This is what you don't do.
I'll have to relook it up. I didn't know there was like a documentary on it. We just like glazed over it on a lesson, I think, in one
Yeah,
of my classes. So, but I was like, that sounds
yeah,
familiar.
yeah. So
So yes,
it is
I
on
have
Netflix. So definitely check that out when you get the chance. Yeah, there you go. There
Yes.
you go. But this circles back to. See, talking about Firefest, this kind of circles back to what you and I were saying, the importance of planning, executing things in a very realistic way to the fact that we can still make these dreams a reality. with you having notes, you were taking notes constantly because you want to make sure that this all makes sense to you, right? And even for me, like I like to, I use certain softwares besides my notepad, I would try to use like certain softwares where I organize all my stuff too, right? And just make sure it's all in one place and it all makes sense, right? But what I really admire about your content too, or even with you just as an entrepreneur, as a business person, is that, not only do you just, like plan stuff, document everything and make sure everything goes well, but I can tell that, you execute things with a good heart as well. It's like the intentions behind it, like what's the plan and how are we going to execute to make sure that it reflects, that we want to care about the people involved in the project.
Oh, thank you.
And I think, yeah, and this is how I see it from my perspective, and I want to let you know about that this is the vibe I get from you on that, is that I feel like with you as a business person, you can have the greatest plan in the world, but if you don't have the heart for it and you don't have the care involved in it, then how can you make it a reality, right?
Yeah, I'm so glad it comes across like that. Like, thank you, because even though I do love making content, you always are like, do people actually like this? Is this what people want? So thank you so much for the feedback means so much to me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Now, have people ever just come to you, like they would DM you on social media and just be like, "Hey, Jordan, you know what? Like, I really enjoy all the stuff that you're doing. What are some tips that you can give me, or blah 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 blah." Like, have people ever just asked you for just casual tips here and there?
Few and far between. More so on TikTok than Instagram. I feel like
Yeah.
Instagram's full of watchers. They're not really liking, they're not really commenting. But TikTok,
Right.
yeah, people do, ask the questions and ask for the advice. And I think people are honestly more open to being themselves on TikTok. So
Mm-hmm.
I do get those questions or those comments that resonate with what I'm going through, and that's always helpful too, because you shouldn't want to rely on that external feedback, because if you do, you can let the bad comments get to you, but it is nice to have that validation.
And here's something we need to hear from you, and because I'm sure other content creators have their own ways of dealing with this. But let's say if you ever do get hate comments, which I don't know who would have the audacity to do that to you, but let's say if you did get some hate comments here and there, I mean, like, how do you deal with that?
We laugh at them. Hunter and I, we are very we can be serious when we need to be, but most of the time we're just we take everything as so funny, something we're kind of bad. I mean, he works in the ER, so he's got his humor is his trauma response, okay?
Of
And
course,
so
yeah.
we just kind of laugh it off, and normally it reflects more on the person than it does on you. Really,
Of
that's
course,
just
yeah.
them projecting what they're feeling onto you. And even if I, catch myself being judgmental, I'm online, am I really being judgmental, or am I jealous of what they're doing and I want to produce stuff like that? And normally
Yeah.
that's I mean, you got to look internally when you even have a thought come across your head like that. You're like, take it a
That's
step
true,
further.
yeah.
Do the shot. Why did that make me feel like that? Gentle parent yourself and be like, oh, this
That's
is
right.
why I can still support them. There's room in this space for both of these ideas or both of these creators. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm so glad you brought that up, because I always feel like you can tell when there's constructive feedback, which will actually help you in the long run, and then you can tell when someone's just slandering you for no reason.
mm,
Like you'll see the difference, because I feel like with constructive feedback, you're like, huh, you know what? I never looked at it that way. You know what? That's a good idea. Maybe I'll give that a try one day.
mhm.
But then if someone goes, you suck, LOL, I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. Delete or do a
Yeah.
video reply, and then you have extra content from it.
Right. Just when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade out of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Quite often, when we want to grow, let's say, our YouTube channel, or just or TikTok channel, or any other channels that other platforms that we do, quite often we do face that whole thing which we call imposter syndrome, right? It's just like, oh, I'm like, it's cool to see growth happen, and people complimenting the stuff that we do, but yeah, at the same time, but then we're just like, like, oh man, did I really deserve that all these amounts of subscribers or not? Like, you know what I mean? Because that kind of stuff can play, can play with your head, because I feel like, when you have, when you have these unnecessary thoughts that come into your mind, it's just like, it's just dangling right in front of you, right? And then it can control you in such a really terrible way. But at the same time, like, for you, how do you deal with that? Like, is there something that helps remind you the fact that, no, you know what, I'm doing this for a really good reason, I'm gonna keep doing it?
Yeah, there's a couple things. I don't want to use the saying "fake it till you make it," but I think if you really put yourself
Hmm.
in the mindset of the person you want to be, like if you had already achieved this success, how would you be acting? And kind of putting
That's right.
that into perspective. That kind of helps me maintain the confidence I kind of need to sometimes to keep creating.
That's right.
It
Yeah.
does get to me sometimes. Like, I created a video the other day, and it normally my TikToks get, I mean, at least a couple hundred views, but this one got like 15, and I was like, "Does the TikTok algorithm not like this?" So I did delete that. My clients,
Yeah,
I
I
tell
feel that.
I tell my clients, I'm like, "Don't delete your content." Like, TikTok, it's an evergreen platform, the video. So I didn't even follow my own advice there, but it does get to me sometimes. But
Yeah.
I think my own skill set, because I used to struggle a lot with anxiety and OCD, and I did talk therapy for that, and I
Right.
got very good at kind of ignoring those thoughts. Like, "Oh, that's a thought, it's
Yeah.
a cloud, it's gonna pass by, it doesn't affect what's going on in here," I guess. So,
Exactly.
it
Yeah. And as long as you're not harming other people, you're not slandering, other people unnecessarily, I think you're golden.
yeah, just keep on, act as if you were the person that you are trying to be. Instead of fake it till you make it, it's not fake. That's why I don't like that term, fake it till you make it, because
Yeah.
you're just you're portraying the person you want to be after you've reached these goals.
There's a lot of us out there, since the pandemic happened, oh boy, it's 2025. So this almost happened 5 years ago, just so you folks know.
Yeah, which is
I
so
f-
crazy because Hunter and I got married in
yeah.
2020, and I'm like, where does the time go? Like, we haven't been married 5
Yeah.
years, have we? What?
Exactly. Yeah. During lockdown season, a lot of us, went on TikTok and Instagram, to connect with a wide variety of different people, right? But I think it is really important to know that you can have a really cool online community of different content creators with the same mindset, despite your geographic differences. Like, even like for yourself and I, I'm in Canada, you're in Nashville, right? But I think we share that common bond of really enjoying, entertaining people, educating people, whatever it may be, because we love people, we share the same interests. And I think anyone who may have these kinds of doubts, thinking, oh, is my stuff good enough? Well, hold on, go back. Why did you enjoy this stuff? And then once you remind yourself that, then you're going to be like, oh, you know what? This is not as bad as I thought, And I think, during that season too, when everything was being shut down for a while, this is where we truly needed each other the most. And like I said, having, with your stuff being put out there to make people's day, it's really encouraging to see that. For you, like, whether it be food, music, online content creation tips, or whatever it is, I think it's kind of cool to see that. I think, even like post COVID now, we still need this kind of stuff to keep our days awesome.
And I think your content was really important during COVID too. I mean, you invited people to sing with you, like,
Yeah.
duet this or learn this. You were helping people learn the skills that
Yeah.
they had time to learn from the lockdown, and then you're continuing that too. So that content was so important because it was educational, it was connecting people. People could duet your things and sing along, which is
Yeah.
another, like, connection. Like, all of a sudden you're on this person's page, like, that that content was so
Oh,
needed
thank you.
and
I'm
so
so glad
good
you
and
enjoyed
still is so
it.
good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, this is the funny thing about it too, because like when people are saying oh hey, can you teach us how to do this song or that song? And I'm just like, yeah. Funny enough, I actually already know how to play that song, so here's a video on how to do it. Right? So, but like I said, even with the stuff that you've put out. This is relatable content. With like, when you talk about like your life as an adult who has a family, who's multitasking all these different things. Every time you talk about that, first thing that came to my head, I'm just like, you know what? I bet you there are thousands of different parents who have a similar path as you that can relate to it, and this is why people are enjoying your stuff. They are really enjoying your stuff because it's just like relatable. Relatability is just so important.
Thank you. I'm so glad. Seriously, I'm so glad that you think that. But yeah, it is, and it goes back to everything is content. I don't know if I mean, everybody on TikTok's like
Yeah,
everything is content, but it is, and that's so important for art too. Like just setting up your camera and filming a 10-second video of whatever you're doing that can be used
yeah.
as content later. It's not overcomplicated creating content. Like I don't unless it's a paid like advertisement, like these posters, those were paid advertisement. That was something that I had to set up to film.
I remember that was on your video. I remember that video.
Yes, but most of the time I'm not necessarily staging content. Like maybe I'll wait to do a task until the lighting's a little better or something like that. But
Of course, yeah, yeah.
filming what is actually going on in my life because that's content, and that's if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have anything to post because I don't have time for anything else. So I think it's important for people to just, oh, what do I film? I don't have anything to film. What do I do? Do what you're doing. Film yourself
Yeah.
writing in a notebook, writing a song, or in the studio, or at the gym, or and always, if you're gonna do anything like that, try to take at least like a 10 or 15-second video, so that way if you do edit it into a vlog or a B-roll or something, you have a little play
Yeah.
room. But just set up your tripod, set up your camera.
Yeah.
So perfect. That's the perfect start.
Exactly. Yeah. And a day in the life of all the stuff you do.
Get it done. There's a vlog, and then you can take those pieces, turn them into a carousel. You can do so much with one piece of content.
Do you ever get comments even from like say other parents who give you like they say, "Oh my goodness, like thank you so much for this, Jordan. Like this is something I could relate to, and I'm going through the same path as you."
Yeah, I do get comments here and there, for like, "Oh, this was so helpful," or things like that, or parents kind of connecting with just the chaos that is having a toddler. Like, there's a specific parent, we had, like, the exact opposite work schedule. Like, she got up, like, at 4 AM to get her work done, and I would instead go
Wow.
to, like, stay up until 1 AM and then sleep and as much as I could, and we kind of joked back and forth a couple times, like, "Oh, well, I
Yeah.
have to flip my schedule, I'll have to try this." So it's really cool, like, getting to connect with that community of parents online and just kind of be all there for each other, which is cool, all in one place. Because my friends, a lot of them don't have kids right now, and, like,
That's right. Yeah.
there to see that, or they just don't understand necessarily what is going on as a mom and a
Hmm.
business owner. So having another community of those people is helpful online.
And it circles back to what we were saying, how important relatability is when it comes to content creation.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think people are because Instagram and TikTok, I think 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, it was all about, I feel like, aesthetics. Like, how pretty can I
That's right.
video? How perfect can I pour this like latte art and take a sip from it? And um, there is still a time and place for that content. Like if that's your target market, that's your target market. But I think more than ever, because everything is so overly commercialized right now, I feel
Yeah.
other people are craving those more authentic, relatable, behind the scenes, like, here's Instagram, but this is reality. This table
Yeah.
and space in my house is clean, but if you look behind the curtain, there's toys everywhere. So I
I know, and I get it. Everybody wants to look like Kim Kardashian, for example, or everybody, a lot of people who are trying to get the summer workout body. They want to look like the next, athlete, big star athlete with the six ab, what do you call, yeah, the six pack and everything like that, right? I really enjoy just like the very casual, organic stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, you know what? It's not corny, it's not cheesy, it's not so super scripted, right? It's just good real stuff. And hey, you know what, do I have an awkward smile from this one picture? Yeah, of course. But you know what though, like nobody else seemed to care about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's authentic. So that is important.
Yeah.
That's not to discourage people who do like the super aesthetic stuff. Like there's a time and a place for that. I do appreciate
Yeah.
a great latte art pour video. Like I will like that
Yeah.
all day long, but I do
Yeah.
think people are craving the relatability of less curated content.
I know you do so much different kinds of work, right? Like, do you have to like pump yourself up full of coffee or any kind of caffeine, or do you just like
Oh,
have like your usual breakfast to start off the day in order to get that energy?
yeah, I stopped drinking coffee for like 4 years, caffeinated coffee, and I've
Wow.
switched to tea.
Wow.
I love matcha and I love jasmine tea. I have like 4 or 5 cups of jasmine tea.
I love jasmine tea and oolong tea as well, and mint tea. So yeah.
Yes, jasmine and oolong. I love them so much, and I've just only recently reintroduced caffeinated coffee because on the nights that my son doesn't sleep, because I drink tea because I feel like the caffeine doesn't give me as much as a crash. Like it's more of a slow
Right.
release, but on the days that I get like 4 hours of sleep, I'm like, okay, Hunter, put a pot of coffee.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and it's dangerous now too because I drink so much caffeine. I just one of my good friends um o- opened a boba shop and I'm doing their social and what
Oh my goodness, a bubble tea shop. Oh my goodness.
it's so good. And so the days that I'm there, I have like five caffeinated beverages and I'm like bouncing off the walls. I'm like, hey, but it works. So
Yeah.
but yeah.
I know. That's yeah. As someone like me who grew up drinking bubble tea back in the past too, like, yeah, I can't, you can't resist it, especially when there's a new shop in town, and if it's your friend's business, you want to support your friend's business, right? So,
I mean, when they're coming like, Jordan, do you like this drink? It's new. Do you want to try it? I'm like, sign me up. Yeah, good. Give it to me. I was there like
yeah,
2 days ago and I had like 4 of the big things of drinks. And I was like, I could not sleep. I was like,
yeah,
I did this to myself.
yeah.
Do you have a favorite go-to caffeinated beverage?
Well, okay. I don't really drink coffee, either. It's not really my thing. But the only one thing I will enjoy is an iced Americano and add some cream to it. So that's about it. I guess that's not really a coffee addiction, I guess, in a way. But when I do have that one coffee related craving, that would be the only thing I would ever get from Starbucks, and that's it.
Fair enough.
But other than that, yeah. But other than that, you know what I do too. It's like I even in the summertime, like I would just make my own personal iced tea. So we're not talking about like the sugary, that Lipton iced tea that everyone usually drinks. But like this like. What I really do honestly do is I just take like say like a mint tea bag, boil it, and then after that cool it down a bit, grab a cup of ice, and then pour that tea into the ice and make my own personal iced tea out of it. So that's how I do it in the summertime normally. But like I said, yeah, the iced Americano is kind of my thing too. But other than that, yeah, that's it for most of it. I'll have like bubble tea, maybe on just some special occasion, on some occasions, but that's about it, right? But funny thing that you asked that. So one time, I did a gig with one of the bands I play in. We played at this one venue in downtown, a nightclub, and I remember taking this was advertised all over our town. There's this energy drink called Rockstar. And because, with us being in a band, we're like, oh, let's just give it a try, right? So I tried Rockstar Energy Drink with my bandmates, and I remember I could not sleep after that gig. I probably didn't go to bed till like super late that night, probably like 3 a.m. in the morning or something, because the stuff that, who knows what gross stuff was in there, but I just remember like, yeah, it's probably pumped full of different kinds of weird stuff in there, and I just couldn't sleep. Like it tasted okay, but I just couldn't go back to bed. I couldn't go to bed because of that. So yeah, I didn't crash until 3 in the morning, and that was it. I just like, no, I'm not doing that again.
The rock star life once and never again.
Yeah, I know. We just took that thing because it says Rockstar energy drink, right? It's no different than what do you call it, like the Monster energy drink. Like that's the same stuff. Just rebranded differently, but it was just not my thing. Like I did try. Yeah, I've drank some energy drinks, like a little bit here and there, just to figure it. I just try it out, but it just wasn't for me. So, but honestly, like I just drink water for most of it. If not water, then I'll take Gatorade Zero too, just whenever I can, just to get my electrolytes going and everything like that. But that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I'm a little bit too reliant on caffeine and I do not drink enough water. But that's okay. We'll add it to
Yeah.
the list.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or if you want to avoid having juice, right? Because it's so full of sugar. At least what I do too, I would just like each once a day I would start off my day even like drinking a glass of water, and also take some chewable vitamin C, like those chewable ones with the nice little orangey flavor to it. It's amazing.
That's a hack that I might just have to try, because I feel like that would trick your brain into like thinking it was a sweet drink, because I'm from Nashville. I'm a sweet tea girl. I love sweet drinks.
Of course. Yes.
I love Milo's. Do you guys have Milo's sweet tea in Canada?
You know what? That's a really good question. I think we probably do. If not, I would. I don't know. Like, there's also what do you call it? Like the cold brew. Where you just put the tea bag in a cup of cold water, and then it just instantly makes the tea out of it too. So that's another one too.
Yeah. Cold brew is good, but yeah. Oh, Milo sweet tea. I'm not a huge physically or not fit like food sweet person, but drinks. I will drink very sweet.
There you go. Yeah. And like I said, our common love for bubble tea, right?
Yeah.
So
love bubble tea. I'm in dangerous territory now that I'm there like a couple times a month, because
Yeah, and I get, you were mentioning your friend's boba shop. It's like, yeah, you want to support your friend's boba shop, so
Yeah, I'll take 4 drinks, totally fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, cool. Well, anyways, but speaking of energy, I think we have reached a conclusion of our podcast. Believe it or not, it has been almost an hour and a half since we started.
Time flies when you're having fun. So
it is. So first of all, Jordan, I just want to thank you so much again for being a guest on our show today. I hope it's been a lot of fun for you, just getting to know all the stuff that you do.
It has so much. Thank you so much. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this to come out, and I'm so excited we finally got to not meet in person, but meet via Zoom and have a conversation. It was so great, getting to know more about you and your love for music and your family and your job, and you're such a awesome person. I'm super excited.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's good to know about all the stuff that you do behind the scenes at your work, but also our common love for music and all the good stuff too. But where can people find you on the interwebs?
They can find me on Instagram. I'm at Jordan, JORDAN _ Linn, LINN _. And then on TikTok, I'm Jordan Linn 2255. I should probably make those cohesive, but it's fine. And then my business website is Influence. So the word influence, and then the letters M as in mouse. So mmco.com. I made it while I was in college, bought it while I was in college. We're sticking with it, even though people are like,
nice.
What? So yeah. Influence Media Marketing Co. is my company. But yeah.
That is awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much again for sharing your amazing content on TikTok and Instagram. And I hope to see more amazing content from you down the road. So folks, please make sure you give Jordan a follow. She's amazing. Again, there's so much relatable content. You'll see her playing music as well, and giving you some other cool life hack tricks that you may need that come in handy one day. So there you go. So Jordan, thank you so much for being on the show. And to everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next time. hope you enjoyed this episode of The Eddie Lam Show, a podcast dedicated to interviewing musicians and online content creators of every kind. If you would like to be a guest on the program, feel free to send me an email at eddielammusic@gmail.com. That's EDDIELAM music@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out my website at eddielammusic.ca. That's EDDIELAMmusic.ca. You can also follow me on social media. Username is Eddie Lam Music. That's EDDIELAM Music on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning into our program. In the meantime, stay in touch, stay safe, and as always, stay awesome.